Project milestones are tools that assist you in delineating your project to ensure ease of accomplishment. Undoubtedly, one of the major reasons some project managers fail is the lack of clear project milestones, causing them to lose focus on what they aim to achieve in their projects. Having a project plan milestone simplifies achieving the project objectives because it can serve as a tool for tracking the project activities. It will help you with recognizing what you need to leverage to achieve your project goals. Also, they will serve as a guide for marking the specific points along the timeline of a project to ensure that you miss out on nothing in the project. They are usually defined in the planning phase of a project and are updated as the project develops. Hello everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is George from Invensis Learning. If you are not subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe and click on the bell icon for regular updates. Today in this video, we are going to give a brief introduction to project milestones. After watching this video, you will learn specific things you need to have done for the project within a specific amount of time by following the industry standards. So without any delay, let's get started. Agenda. In today's session, we will start with our plan on a project, milestones. The first and foremost topic is the introduction of project milestones, followed by the basic question, what are project milestones? Then we will jump into our second topic of what are project milestones in project management. Post that, we shall talk about milestones misconceptions. Then, we will start with the importance of project milestones and learn why project milestones are tracked. Then, we shall discuss the strategies of project milestones. And after that, we will start with the project milestones process. After that, we will start with advantages and disadvantages, examples, and finally, we will conclude the session with a case study. Sounds interesting, right? So now without much delay, let us begin with our first topic, project milestones. Some studies have concluded that there is a correlation between project planning and project success. In addition, according to the Project Management Institute, almost 40% of projects' failures are due to poor planning. Due to that fact, project managers must use good planning methods because planning is one of their responsibilities. Project milestones are a project management tool that project managers find useful to identify important events in the project's life. So, project milestones assist project managers in tracking deadlines and critical dates, viewing potential bottlenecks, and allocating time and resources. Using project milestones can also provide more visibility to stakeholders to better view how the project is going. As a result, the project teams will have a better overview of what they are responsible for. Project milestones are a method of knowing how the project is advancing, especially if you're not familiar with executing the tasks. They have zero duration because they symbolize an achievement or a point of time in a project. Since a milestone's start and end date depends on a task's start and end date, task association is a major milestone feature. Milestones are effective because they demonstrate forward development in your project plan. They help to motivate and align your team by allowing everyone to view progress and judge priorities. And they help you in keeping track of deadlines, identifying significant dates, and recognizing potential bottlenecks within the project. If you were to clear the tasks from your project timeline, the milestones would still outline the important steps or phases of the project. So today, in this session, we will go through the project milestones, which are extremely important for ensuring successful management and keeping the team on track. Before going to the depth of the topic, first, we need to understand the definition of project milestones. A project milestone marks significant progress and a task of zero duration that shows an important achievement in a project. The milestones should represent a clear sequence of events that incrementally build up until your project is complete. Milestones allow groups to recognize their effort. Most industries celebrate milestones. The most common to implement them are engineering, technology, finance, law, and healthcare teams. Usually, milestones do not have a particular duration themselves, and they are more likely to have dependencies, meaning they are contingent on certain tasks being completed. Instead, it is a reference point that identifies an important event in a project. Thus, project milestones are also known as stage gates, phase reviews, phase entrances, phase exits, skill points, etc. Project milestones are significant accomplishments that get a project closer to completion. A milestone can also provide context for determining how a project is progressing. Although not every teammate is aware of the daily steps necessary to complete the project, milestones allow teams to have a clear picture of the project's progress and understand its role. Thus we got the definition of project milestones. Now, let us try to understand from your perspective what the project milestone is. Answer your ideas on project milestones in the comment section, So our experts respond to you on your ideas and brief it out technically. Now, after clearly understanding the concept of project milestone, we shall understand its context in project management, that is, what are project milestones and project management? A milestone is a project management device used to reference a particular progress point in a project. It depicts when you want to achieve an event that moves you closer to completing a project. In addition, project milestones serve as signal posts that stakeholders can gauge progress, such as the beginning of a project, the delivery of a significant component, completion of 50% of engineering designs, or the end date. Milestones can serve numerous functions in project management. For example, you can utilize project milestones to show stakeholders who can't visit a project site how work is advancing. In addition, they show when an event has occurred, making them ideal for staying focused on project deliverables. Since milestones have no set time, you can also utilize them as a scheduling tool to break tasks into more reasonable chunks to improve efficiency and make monitoring simpler. Milestones are normal in project management software, where they are found in the Gantt chart as diamonds. You can use them to visually represent the task timelines in incremental sequences to build up project delivery. Now that you are aware of project milestones in project management, let us now look into some of the misconceptions about milestones. Many project management words may appear quite similar, but understanding their differences is critical to avoid ambiguity. For example, project milestones are sometimes confused with tasks, goals, deliverables, and phases within the project management domain. Now I'll clear up some of these misunderstandings for you. The first misconception is between milestones and tasks. Tasks are actionable items that are frequently assigned a time estimate. They're a group of actionable items from the project's overall activity list with a time estimate. Every project is made up of tasks that must be completed within a certain amount of time. Every project is broken down into a succession of tasks. These jobs are time and resource intensive, and they are frequently interrelated. Meanwhile, there is no time estimate associated with milestones. They're just points on the project timetable, project schedule, that denote the completion of a project job. On the project timetable or schedule, these are simply significant occurrences. They're about moments that signal progress yet don't take up any time or resources. They are just markers of how far your project has progressed. Next, we have milestones and goals. Though project milestones and goals appear to be the same, they are two very separate things. Goals are the things you and your resource team want to accomplish in the coming days or months. They're goals you'd like to accomplish in the future. They could be expressed as key performance indicators or simply as a list of things you aim to do by the end of the project. A goal is about the future, while a milestone is about the past. Goals are things you want to accomplish in the next few days or months. Project goals are the outcomes you aim to attain in the future, whereas milestones are the steps you took to get there in the past. Project milestones, on the other hand, assess progress and serve as stepping stones toward your goal. The path to accomplishing the goal will be broken down into various activities and milestones. Milestones are all of the significant accomplishments you've already made. For example, winning the group stages, quarterfinal, semifinal, and final game will be your milestones. The next misconception is between milestones and deliverables. While both milestones and deliverables can be used to track project progress, they are not the same. A project deliverable is the culmination of several tasks. The actual products or results you get after reaching a milestone are known as project deliverables. The real book will be your delivery, and the milestone will be met as soon as you finish the manuscript. Project milestones are just a precise point in time that shows progress toward your final goal, whereas deliverables are the quantifiable consequence or result of finished work. A deliverable, such as a product or service, is a quantifiable result. A crucial milestone, on the other hand, is a significant point in the project's life cycle. Project deliverables are sometimes the outcome of accomplished milestones. However, this is not always the case. Completing the initial version of your software, for example, is a deliverable and a milestone. Even if it's a milestone, winning stakeholder approval isn't always a deliverable. A milestone is a point in time that marks the end of a certain event and is used to commemorate the accomplishment. Then we have milestones and phases. Project phases are frequently linked to milestones, such as project planning and kickoff. A phase is a period that spans several jobs. Project milestones are mini goals inside project stages, while phases are where key actions take place. The number of phases and milestones in a project plan, on the other hand, varies according to the project's complexity. A milestone is a checkpoint that marks the transition from one phase to the next but does not have a set time limit. The project milestones mark the start of various project phases. However, they are not the same. Why should you track project milestones and learn their importance? Firstly, why should one track project milestones? Milestones must be tracked by everyone participating in the project. Clients can better comprehend the development because team members are more productive. On the other hand, project managers find milestones useful and stay on track with the original project plan. Project milestones can assist team members and management stay accountable and on track for successful project completion. Let's take a closer look at why it's important to keep track of project milestones. The first reason is keeps on top of deadlines. Every project is made up of deadlines, usually lots of them. But, of course, not everyone has to know when each of these has been met. Featuring the main deliverables and turning them into milestones in your project plan means an individual who needs a top-level view of progress can perceive what's going on at a glance. Milestones should reflect key minutes in the project and make sense to those new with the granular point of interest, like stakeholders, top-level execs, and sponsors. Next, we have identifies delays or bottlenecks. At the point when things are going belly up, the absolute worst possible thing you can do is bury your head in the sand. But, unfortunately, project milestones can stop you from doing this. Why? Because they force you to stop and assess the project's progress periodically. At last, we have creates a solid plan. Tasks are the structured blocks of each project, and there tend to be a lot of them. Mapping out milestones makes it simpler to plan. It also assists you in managing expectations. Stakeholders, sponsors, and high-level executives might not know, or want to know, every detail. Mapping out milestones assists them plan and understanding your schedule rapidly and easily. Importance of project milestones. One of the major importance of the project milestone is that it provides the project with a specific level of standard. In addition, a project milestone creates an environment where it is necessary to encourage ourselves to achieve that particular milestone. So, we shall point out some of the major milestones' advantages. First, we have setting standard. Once the assigned project reaches the level where it can be declared as in the completed phase of the project milestone, the manager and the project handler maintain a certain milestone standard compared to other project milestones. Therefore, the manager must make sure that the project assigned should reach its set milestones to be simple to establish the standard of projects. The second advantage is delivers accuracy. After achieving such a milestone in the project, a project manager might receive a positive approach from the team members. And one of the most important things that can be accomplished through these milestone projects is that they can perform superior in their precision level. But, moreover, it maintains the pleasant level of precision of the project. The next importance is forecasting future milestone projects. After completing the project's milestone, a project manager might be approached by various types of projects that need to achieve higher levels of a milestone compared to their previous milestone. It is exceptionally common to understand that after the person handles the achievement of one of the milestone projects, it is possible that they can forecast the future milestone project they can achieve. The last point in the list is motivate the team. As explained earlier, the project manager needs to appraise the performance by introducing the milestone project accomplished by the company. This will encourage the team to work superior for the overall development of the company. Most of the time, the project manager probably won't use their achievement as motivational elements. But, eventually, this can turn in as the team's performance might be brought down to a negative level. Therefore, to dodge such problems, it is better to mention all the milestone projects as motivational tools for the team. Now that you are aware of the project milestones' importance, let us look into strategies for choosing project milestones, which are required for performing the project milestone process. Regardless of anything else, project milestones keep you going and keep your project going. That's what helps you achieve the goals you set and deliver the final results to your client. In addition, it assists you to know whether your team is doing what they ought to be, and they're the things that will permit you to meet all of your deadlines. But being prepared for issues along the way is important as well. So, by knowing how to set up and plan for milestones, you'll be preparing yourself and your team better all around. So, let us now look into the strategies used in project milestones. First, we have focus on important dates. When deciding on project milestones, note basic events such as the start and end dates. These dates will give guidance and assist teams in focusing their energies on achieving tasks. Other significant dates to spotlight include events that might affect your ability to work on the project, such as public holidays, training, and different activities that might influence the project delivery date. By counting those dates as milestones, you can plan your work to accommodate any delays. Next, we have identify sources of delay. It is also important to recognize potential sources of delay when creating milestones. Milestones allow the project manager to factor in the delays when calculating project delivery dates and creating milestones. The next strategy is identify deadlines. You need to identify deadlines for the diverse project phases. These may be soft deadlines, but they assist you in creating realistic timelines that will permit stakeholders who are not a portion of the project execution group to assess the pace of work. Next in the list, we have start with multiple project milestones. Including several project milestones at the starting of your project makes estimating the completion dates easier. When you estimate the completion date for each milestone, you can then compare it to the actual project completion date. Doing this permits stakeholders to provide feedback and track the project's progress relative to the delivery date. Coming to the next one. Include critical milestones in the schedule. Setting key project milestones in the schedule helps manage stakeholders' expectations. It fills in as an interface where stakeholders can monitor the project's progress, identify milestones experiencing delays, and adjust their expectations regarding the team's output. And the last strategy is determine logical interdependencies between milestones. You need to identify how milestones rely on each other. Doing this permits you to follow a sequential order of events. For instance, workers must finish the foundation of a house before erecting walls. Only after raising the walls can they install the roof. Milestones must follow this logical sequence of occasions for effective synchronization of project tasks and phases. Now that we have understood the strategies of project milestone, we shall now understand the project milestones processes. Many things could be considered a milestone within a project, but some are more common than others. These are the things you want to look at to make sure you're following the way you should be and that your team executes their tasks. By fitting these project milestones into your strategies, you're going to be better prepared along the way. First, we have start and end dates. These are two of the main important milestones because they let you know when things begin and when your first team or individuals need to work on their tasks. It additionally lets you know the last possible day you should be working on the project and when the client expects the final deliverable. Then we have external review. If you need someone outside of yourself or an immediate member of your team to analyze something, then that's another time you're going to need a milestone. But, again, this is the place where you will need to halt a few of your steps and whatever you're working on to hold for that higher level approval. Next, budget checks. If you need to check in with the client or with a project manager before spending outside of a particular limit, this is another region where you're aiming to have a milestone. You'll need to halt your work until you can get the financial plan evaluated and approval to continue. The last step to be considered is major deliverables. Each of the deliveries is considered a milestone if the client has requested deliverables outside the final deliverable. You will wish to have all of the tasks dominant up to that deliverable complete and then turn the item, document, or anything else over to the client. In general, several things could be deliverables. The most significant thing is that you check in with the individuals higher up the chain than you and your customer to find out what everybody expects. By working from this foundation, you might have the option to set yourself up for better achievement, and you will be able to make sure that all of your tasks are being completed the way they should be. Setting your milestones will get easier then. Now that you got to know the simple steps required for creating project milestones, we shall discuss how to create project milestones. Setting milestones in the beginning phases of the project life cycle offers a broad view of what to expect with the project's progress. The strategies or steps recorded here will help you to find the right milestones for your projects. Firstly, we need to develop a project plan. The project first requires having a definite plan with an objective. A project scope shows how to achieve the goal. However, goal setting is not as simple as it sounds. With the utilization of the project resource management tool, managers can efficiently define and implement a plan. Next, we have to create tasks and subtasks. After a foolproof project planning is done, it's time to split your entire project into tasks and subtasks. These are arranged to different project phases. It does not only organize things, it additionally encourages the tracking of initiatives. Soon after this, it is required to define milestones. Then comes the most significant part, Milestone planning. It is one of the most vital components of project planning because they are the visible indicator of project progress. Here are the actions of managers to characterize milestones. Identify the critical tasks of significant project stages. Appoint milestones for them. Delegate the tasks to group individuals. And at the end, one can visualize milestones using Gantt charts. In a project-centric organization, managers have to manage multifaceted projects at the same time. This is where a Gantt chart is useful. It gives a visualization of both project and resource schedules on a single platform in real time. It helps them track the project's functional characteristics like the milestone schedules, the allotted time for each milestone delivery, assigned resources, etc. It helps project managers to oversee all project milestones with a bird's-eye view and take proactive measures ahead of the curve. Now you know the project milestone process, we shall look into the steps involved in conducting project milestone. To conduct a project milestone, first, we need to get project approval. While not as regularly noted as other project milestone illustrations, the first milestone is the initial approval that permits the project to move ahead. For internal projects, this milestone frequently comes in the form of approval from a department director or other high-level stakeholders. For other projects, this milestone is generally marked by completing a sales contract and the scope of work. Once the project is approved, project managers start inputting project elements into their picked project management tool. Soon after this, you must perform requirements review. Most enterprise projects involve an extensive process in which the project requirements are defined and accumulated through a series of meetings, review sessions, and document trades. The project team, at that point, typically interprets and solidifies their notes and presents the client/customer with a detailed description of the requirements as they understand them. When the client/customer agrees that the requirements are precisely documented, another significant project milestone has been reached. The next step is design approval. After collecting the customer's requirements, a project team needs to plan a solution that will meet the requirements and fulfill the scope of work. Finally, when the initial design is finished, which often requires months or even years for enormous projects, the customer needs to analyze the proposed solution and affirm that it will satisfy the project objectives. This design approval is a major milestone for projects in fields as diverse as software, construction, and marketing, to name a few. Then, project phase milestones. Once the project team builds or implements the proposed solution, the project manager will typically define project-specific milestones related to the work's components. For example, the project manager may need to check milestones and facilitate milestone payments to complete phases such as framing, concrete pouring, plumbing establishment, and interior finishing in a construction project. The final step is final approval. Of course, the most significant of all project management milestones is the one that denotes the completion of a project. This milestone ordinarily comes at the end of an extensive testing and inspection process and a final review session. Then, finally, all stakeholders agree that the work is finished and meets the project requirements. Upon reaching this milestone, successful project managers hold a follow-up meeting with the team to examine what worked, what might have been better, and how to work even more efficiently and effectively on the next project. As you guys now know about the project milestone process, and if you think it can also be performed in another way, you can drop those in the comment section too. Now you guys are familiar about the project milestones process, we shall look into the advantages and disadvantages of project milestones. Advantages of project milestones. Milestones assist project managers in monitoring deadlines so they can stay on top of everything as well. It assists project managers in giving stakeholders updates on how the project is going. It can assist spot possible bottlenecks because many projects must depend on different teams, and it can prompt delays if they are not monitored. By utilizing project milestones, it becomes much easier to spot important dates and events. In addition, it helps everyone to see where the project is going and what has to be done to finish it. Project managers can effectively distribute resources so the projects are completed on time and within the funding. Project teams can view what they are accountable for in the project through milestones. Coming to disadvantages of project milestones. While doing a status report, it is important to see what went wrong and how the project is doing, but it is critical not to dwell on it for too long. It is like projects have changed. The milestone plan incorporates all the project milestones, but the project milestones only say half of the story. An activity plan should be made or a to-do list to reach those milestones, as mentioned before. So, the milestone plan is restricted in that aspect, but at the same time, it is good to have them in separate plans. It is good to have one idea that displays all the activities and the milestones so the team members will have a good outline like the Gantt chart for the project plan recently mentioned. Simultaneously, it is also good to have milestones, like a milestone chart for the stakeholders. Utilizing project milestones is a reactive control system. This means the team engages first in the project activities, then evaluates the project goals. If the team underperforms enormously, they will have to do it again to correct it. So, the project manager must be monitoring the project closely throughout the whole process but not just around when the milestones are due. In theory, and looking at the milestone idea, each milestone must be finished one by one, making it a restriction. But in practice, that's not the case, and the team can start working on milestone 4 before milestone 3 is finished. After understanding the advantages and disadvantages of project milestone, we shall now see project milestones examples and case study. Project milestones examples. A project milestone marks a strong point in time. You can utilize milestones in your projects to represent events such as key deliverables received, project kickoff completion, a final plan approval, requirements review completion, design approval, project phase completion, and much more. Let's look at some common project milestones examples for each phase of the project lifecycle. Project approval. Start and end of project phases. Getting your project charter approved. Securing financing, equipment, or resources. Assembling a project team. Getting your project plan approved. Project kickoff meeting. Completing critical tasks. Producing key project deliverables. Reaching project goals and objectives. Project completion. These milestone examples apply to any project regardless of its industry. However, as a project manager, you're free to define the project milestones that you need to help you plan, execute and track your project progress. Coming to Project Milestones Case Study. Topic: Delivering on milestones in the COVID-19 crisis. Background. Beginning with initial reports in December 2019, the COVID-19 virus rapidly spread to pandemic extents by March 11, 2020. Due to the threat of virus transmission, quarantine, social distancing, and shelter-in-place orders were initiated. The outcome was the closure of numerous businesses. This included preliminary clinical sites, leading to the closure or delay of various existing and projected clinical trials. The BioRasi project team was focused on completing 2 basic project milestones, which were suddenly put in danger due to the COVID-19 health crisis. Challenges. Due to the COVID-19 isolate, a key BioRasi client was confronting delays and an ongoing basket trial obstacles that would agitate the trial timeline and lead to likely interruptions in treatment and unexpected finance overruns. The first milestone was focused on meeting the data delivery objective for 6 months of treatment information, for the SEG patient cohort, one of the rarest of the 4 infections in the basket trial. Challenges included site limitations on checking visits, closure of certain sites, leading to the cancellation of patient site visits, clinical research coordinators, CRCs, without site access require distant solutions. The second milestone, also part of the SEG cohort, was focused on meeting the data delivery aim for 12 months of treatment. Challenges included pending patient investigation visits, timeline for data cleaning and reconciliation, vendor and site arrangement for delivery of data. Solutions. Understanding the potential difficulties caused by COVID-19, the BioRasi team immediately began to brainstorm and develop impact mitigations for the study. The resulting management strategy focused on safety and hazard, remote monitoring, timeline and milestone management, and budget management. This proactive methodology was put into practice to meet the first data delivery milestone during the pinnacle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, the BioRasi team leveraged the successful outcomes of the mitigation strategy to plan and complete the second milestone in the project. Milestone 1. Requested specific date from site CRCs for query resolution or distant source data verification, SDV. Facilitated close arrangement between data management and clinical teams to determine all site problems in the presence of CRCs. Ensured sites with no CRC access were accounted to the client immediately and eliminated from the dataset. Milestone 2. Nurse service management, expedited alignment and document analysis for home nursing services to ensure availability as a backup in case the site visit was affected. Site alignment, promoted close site arrangement and communication for the following tasks. Finish last subject last visit within visit window. Tracked site visit, electronic data capture updates, and coordination of test shipments. Executed remote monitoring plan to meet the query closing or SDV requirements for the data delivery. Vendor alignment, facilitated with a central lab to guarantee completion of the following tasks. Expedited delivery of lab kits to home nursing administrations. Expedited transfer of LSLV data to be accommodated for data cleaning required for the milestone. Coming to the results. With the effect alleviation strategy in place, Biorossi was able to meet both data delivery deadlines, keeping the preliminary on track and completing the first part of the study despite operational challenges caused by the COVID-19 crisis. Project milestones exhibit the project's progress and ensure that the project is on schedule. They assist in recognizing bottlenecks in processes and let you manage assets efficiently. If milestones are long, you can have a quick, substantial check between milestones to ensure you are not missing the progress.